The Kansas City Chiefs are overrated. I said it, I'll say it again. The Chiefs, entering 2021, are being overhyped, and they are, this year, overrated. Now, I'm not saying that they won't make the playoffs. They certainly will. I'm not saying that they aren't even AFC contenders, but the Kansas City Chiefs, billed as a juggernaut entering this season, simply do not look like a juggernaut on paper. I don't think will be a juggernaut this year. Before I give you my opinion on why I believe the Chiefs are overrated entering this 2021 NFL season, make sure that you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more BLV NFL just like this. And also get in that comments and let me know if I am correct and the Chiefs are overrated entering this season, or if I am wrong and the Chiefs are properly rated entering this year, because there is no way they could be underrated. I want you guys to understand, because there's going to be many Chiefs fans that comment on this video and say, Mitch, you're absolutely out of your mind. What are you talking about? The Chiefs are overrated. Of course they're great. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Andy Reid. They have Tyreek Hill. They have Travis Kelce. They have Tyrann Mathieu and Chris Jones. They went to 3 straight AFC championships. They went to 2 straight Super Bowls. I want you to understand that I'm not saying they won't be in the playoff hunt. They won't be a playoff team. They won't win their division. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the expectations for the Chiefs entering this year to be the favorite to win the Super Bowl, to be the favorite to win the AFC, that is just flat out wrong. I do not look at this team, I do not look at this roster as a juggernaut. And I find it very odd that we are not discussing this team as a potential Super Bowl hangover candidate. Why do we consider every other team in the history of teams to have a Super Bowl hangover, but not the 2021 Chiefs? I don't get it. When you look at their roster, when you look at the team, when you look at what they did last year, even when you look at the playoff run that won them the Super Bowl 2 years ago, you say this team is a candidate to regress, to take a step back. It's going to happen one of these years. It's going to happen soon that the Chiefs don't get back to the Super Bowl, that they don't win the AFC Championship. It's going to happen. I'm just letting you know right now before it happens. And I think this year could be that year. I think the Chiefs will not get back to the Super Bowl. I think the Chiefs may miss the AFC Championship. I think they are a candidate to regress this year. First, the Kansas City Chiefs, when they won their Super Bowl, it was a miracle run. A miracle run. They came back in every single game they won in the playoffs. Every single one. I don't think a team has ever replicated that. Now, good on Patrick Mahomes. Good on the Chiefs. Great on Andy Reid to win that first Super Bowl of his. But to come back in every single game and win, that's very hard to do. You also have to consider that the Chiefs won 8 games last year by 1 score. 8 games by 1 score. That's not exactly dominating the opposition. In the playoffs, they beat the Browns, even without Mahomes. I will give them credit for that. They beat the Bills pretty convincingly, and they got slaughtered. I mean, absolutely destroyed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is what's bugging me. Okay, so Patrick Mahomes commented that the goal for this team is going undefeated. And that's perfectly fine. You never want to say you're going to lose a game. I understand the perspective. I understand what he's saying. Regardless, Patrick Mahomes has the right to say that. He shouldn't want to lose any games. And I feel like, okay, based on what they've done, that might be warranted. But at the same time, is it realistic? No. I made a video suggesting that it's a possibility the Bucs could go undefeated this year. So this is where I stand between the Bucs and the rest of the NFL, and that includes the Chiefs. And this is where I call the Chiefs overrated. The Chiefs are favored over the Bucs in every category. They are favored over the Bucs to win the Super Bowl. They are favored over the Bucs to get back to the Super Bowl. They are favored over the Bucs to win more games. This is despite the Bucs slaughtering them in the Super Bowl, destroying them. It wasn't a competition. Despite having a tougher schedule, despite the Bucs getting better and the Chiefs maybe staying the same or maybe getting worse. I do not understand how Vegas, the books, have the Chiefs favored this season in the NFL. It doesn't make sense. It absolutely does not make sense. Patrick Mahomes might be the best quarterback in the league. That's fine. But that doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl. It really does not. And when you look at the Chiefs roster, they have many holes. You don't look at the Bucs roster and say there's a hole here, there's a hole there. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about the depth here. You look at the Chiefs roster and you say, ooh, that's not so pretty. That doesn't look great. Like, that could be better. Like, you look at this Chiefs roster. Tell me this is a great roster. Be honest with yourselves. They have 5 or 6 great players, right? They have Patrick Mahomes, they have Tyreek Hill, they have Chris Jones, they have Tyrann Mathieu, and they have Travis Kelce. Okay, that's 5 great players. I don't think I missed anybody there. They have some other good players on their team, but those are primarily their great players, and their team relies on those great players. They have yet to have a season where any of those players get hurt for a significant portion of time. And this is what concerns me about this team. Being a Patriots fan, I saw Rob Gronkowski go down for seasons at a time. I saw key players like Dante Hightower and Julian Edelman go down. Despite this, the Patriots were able to reign supreme and be competitive because they had great depth. The Chiefs roster does not have great depth. The Chiefs, if they lost Kelce or Hill or Jones or Matthew, I'm not even going to include Mahomes because obviously if you lose your quarterback for any team, that's going to hurt a lot. But any of their other key players, if you lost one of those players, right? Tyreek Hill, your number 1 receiver is Mecole Hardman. Your number 2 is Demarcus Robinson. No offense to those guys, that's not getting it done. If you lose Travis Kelce, who is your tight end? Who? You lose a top 2 receiver on your team. You lose a guy that's key to moving the ball downfield. How do they adjust without Travis Kelce? If you lose Tyrann Mathieu, that might not be as bad as losing Tyreek or Kelce. You could probably overcome it a little bit easier because you do have a little bit more depth at safety. I'll give you that. But that's a key piece to your secondary. He's the chess piece to your defense. If you lose Chris Jones, you lose your entire pass rush. You don't have a pass rush outside of Chris Jones. The secondary is average. You lost Bashaud Breeland. Who are you replacing him with? Mike Hughes? He's never been good in this league. Maybe he will be this year, but that's just a guess, right? Everything with the Chiefs is just assuming they made the right move. It's like assuming last year that Clyde Edwards-Helaire would pay off because he was a running back with the Chiefs offense. But he didn't last year. He didn't pay off. Will he this year? We will see. I'm not sure. I'm not sold. Defensively, though, are we sold on Frank Clark? Because he's been bad. That was a bad move. Who do you have behind him? Alex Okafor? Like, that's your second edge player. You're moving Chris Jones to the edge because you don't have any other edge players. You don't have the depth at that position you've had. Your interior defensive line is full of run stuffers who are fine players, but they're not getting to the quarterback. Your linebacker position is thinner without Damian Wilson, and you're asking Willie Gay to replace him, which is fine. You picked him in the 2nd round. He could be a solid player, but I mean, him and Hitchens aren't scaring anybody. The cornerbacks, like, I like L'Jarius Sneed. He's probably going to be a number 1 corner, but now you're moving him into a position that I feel like is going to be much more demanding, and I'm not sold on really the rest. Ward's fine. Like, Fenton, I don't know. Hughes, I don't know. Like, just you look at this entire defense, it could be decent at best. Like, that's the ceiling for this defense. It might be bad again. Just if you lose one player, you're in trouble. If you just don't perform to the same level that you've performed, which is highly likely, you might get worse. Your offense, you lost Sammy Watkins, which kind of made you really dynamic when he was on the field. But without him, you're asking Mecole Hardman, and a lot of pressure is on Mecole Hardman to really have a good year. Like, a lot of pressure. He needs to come through with that. The offense will still be great. I think it's interesting that everyone claims that the Chiefs are a better team because they got better on the offensive line, but I'm not really sure that they are that much better. Like, the Chiefs were good on the offensive line when they won the Super Bowl. They were good until the playoffs, until the AFC Championship, when they lost a couple players. Are you really that much better? I mean, you have 3 starters that are unproven at the NFL level. Your whole right side of your offensive line is highly, highly questionable. They're all young players. I'm not sure how good they will be. You tell me who they are, because I don't really know how good these players are. Humphrey, I'm going to assume is going to be good because he was picked high in the draft. The other 2 guys are later round picks, Orlando Brown moves from the right to left, and he was never a great player to begin with. Joe Tooney is very, very good, but he's leaving New England and going to Kansas City. He's in a new system on a new line. So I don't assume he's going to be one of the best guards in football. He'll still be good, but I've seen it. Guys leave New England and they're not as good. I've seen it many times. So I just look at this team. I don't see them as a juggernaut. I don't see this roster as an amazing, unbelievable roster that you have to pick to win the Super Bowl. Like many people are suggesting, like a lot of analysts seem to think, like Vegas has it. There is no way you could convince me this roster is better than Tampa Bay. It's not even on the same planet. The Chiefs are maybe better at quarterback, and I don't know what else. Like, what other position are they better at than the Bucs? And for them to be favored over the Bucs, are they better roster-wise than the Packers? Are they better than the Browns? Are they better than the Bills? There's rosters in this league, even within their own division, that you could argue are just as talented, right? It's pretty crazy to me the way that people talk about this team. Again, guys, I'm not convincing you they're not going to be good. So don't come back here and say, oh, Mitch, they won 12 games, because I expect that to happen. I'm just telling you, there's going to be a time where this team doesn't match expectations. And I feel like 2021 is that year. I don't see them reaching the Super Bowl. I don't see them getting back. I don't see them winning. If I'm wrong, I'll own up to it and I'll say I was wrong. So this is really a risky video for me to make because most likely they're going to go far in the playoffs. But I'm just letting you know ahead of time, I think it's wild that they are so heavily favored to win the AFC when I feel the Browns are a better roster and I feel the Bills have just as good of a chance. There is a world where Allen and Mahomes play at the same level. If not, Allen plays better. There is a world. I just don't know, guys. I don't feel like the Chiefs deserve to be favored. I don't think they should be favored. And for you to say that they could go undefeated, especially have a higher chance to go undefeated over Tampa Bay, who just only allowed 9 points to them in the Super Bowl, that's wild. That's crazy. That's nutso. Just look at the depth chart and tell me I'm wrong. I don't get it. I look at it. I don't see the depth. I really don't. I think you're really, really all in on 5 or 6 players. And if any of them go down, you're in significant trouble. And that's just my opinion on things. I think if I was the Chiefs general manager, if I was the Chiefs and I was a fan, I would be searching for guys to pick up to add to this roster to provide depth because I don't see it. As somebody that analyzes every roster and every team, I look at the Chiefs and every time I say, well, it's the Chiefs, they'll do this, they'll do that. But then again, you need to actually look at them from an every season basis. And this year, it just doesn't appear they have the same team that they've had the last couple of years. I might be wrong, but I might be right. Let me know in the comment section below if you think I'm right or wrong. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. Peace.